Okay, so in this video, I am going to show you how you can get your first 10 customers in 90 days using cold email without spending money on ads, SDRs, you're just doing outbound for yourself. So I am a freelance GTM engineer. Basically, a go-to-market engineer is somebody that uses various different tools to create outbound sequences. I want to show you how you can do the same for your team or for your company. So what I'm going to cover in this video is the timeline of sort of a 90-day cold email setup, building your ICP, email infrastructure basics, key metrics you need to be aware of, building lead lists, getting that sequence set up and sent out, key tips, key mistakes, and finally the tools I use and why. So when you're looking at a timeline for your first outbound using cold email, you're going to be looking at 90 days, and we split those into 30-day sections. So days 1 to 30, building that foundation, days 31 to 60, launching and learning, and days 61 to 90, scale and system. So let's start off. You want to start with one simple testable offer, one ICP, one pain, one outcome. Commit to that for at least 45 days. What this means is that you're not getting shiny object syndrome. You're not trying to do multiple different things at once. You are focusing on one core thing for each area, and that gives you the best chance of success. So first of all, we're going to look at your ICP and TAM. If you don't know what an ICP is, it's your ideal customer profile. So you are looking at the size of the company, the industry they're in, the role of the person at that company, maybe funding rounds, using certain tech in their stack. There's lots of things that you can use to define your ICP. My main advice with ICP is be as specific as you possibly can. If you don't have one yet, that's okay. Pick something and test it. And then next time, pick something else and test that. You only learn by making those mistakes. TAM is your total addressable market. So everybody that fits that ICP that you can find would create that TAM. For starting, we want at least 500 to 2,000 accounts. Ideally, you want 1,000 because that gives you a really nice round number to look at your metrics and your results. And it's really important to note here that quality is better than volume. People do this spray and pray tactic, which is where they get 10,000 contacts and they just send 10,000 emails out. It doesn't work anymore for lots of reasons that I'll go into on the video. Quality is better than volume every time. Okay, so now let's look at infrastructure basics. You want to protect your main domain. So if your website, let's say my website is charliebrownconsulting.com, I would not want to send emails from my main email address at that domain, because if it gets blacklisted and lands in spam, that could impact my domain forever. So you want to purchase subdomains. These are domains that are similar to your main one, but have a different address. So if we were using mine as an example, maybe we'd do CB Consulting or Consulting Charlie or something along those lines that looks similar but isn't. What you would do then is with those subdomains, you would ensure that they forward to your main domain. So anything, if people were to type in that subdomain, it would forward straight to your actual primary domain. Under each one that you purchase, you need 2 inboxes in each one. Sometimes you can have more, and that's the difference between using Google inboxes or Microsoft inboxes. Next, once you've got your inboxes and your domains, you want to make sure they're being set up for SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. Then you want to start your warm-up. Different email sequences tools have a warm-up built in. You just need to look at it and ensure everything is set up within that. And I recommend warming up for at least 4 weeks. People say you can kind of go from 2 weeks, but in my experience, it's better to have at least 4, ideally more. But right, these are looking at metrics that matter. Once you've built everything and you're about to start sending out, these are the key metrics you need to be looking at. You need to keep your bounce rate below 3%. Opens. Every email sequencing tool will see, do you want to track opens? Do not track opens. The reason being is that when you're sending emails, you want to make sure that your emails are plain text only. You don't want to include any links or any images. And how they track opens is using a little pixel in there. So when that pixel is looked at, that email has been opened and you get reported that back. So we don't want to be looking at opens. The main thing that we want to be looking at are positive replies. But first of all, replies, 3%. So every 100 emails you send, you get 3 replies back. This is, from my experience, this is really quite low. We're kind of getting around the 6, 7, 8% replies. And then positive replies, again, that's really low, 0.3%. So that's 3 in every 1,000 are replying. That's really low for positive replies, but that's the benchmark. That is the industry benchmark. So it is not hard to win at this game at the moment. Okay, now onto some more fun stuff. So first, lead list. You want to be pulling your lead lists from Apollo. Probably if you're a B2B, then you're going to want to look at Apollo. There are so many other scrapers. You can pull lists from Google. You can pull lists from Maps. You can pull lists from LinkedIn. There are so many ways to do it. I would recommend starting off from Apollo if you're B2B. It's the biggest database. It's got everyone in there that you should be looking at. It is quite expensive though, and if you're not going to be using all of the tools that Apollo has built in, I would use a scraper because it will save you a lot of money. So there's lots of different scrapers on there. Export Apollo is the one that I use, and it is the best one in my opinion. Once you've got that lead list, you are taking them and you're putting them into Clay. Clay is the central tool for anybody in outbound. If it's not, it should be. You are pulling in that lead list into Clay. You are verifying emails. You are making sure that they aren't going to bounce, that they are legitimate emails, they still work at that company. And then you're going to enrich those people. Enriching is essentially taking these people, putting that information into Clay, and Clay is giving you back anything you want to know about that person, about that company, about that role. So I would enrich with the role, the company size, and then 1 to 2 context fields. These are things such as the university that person went to, or the job they used to have, or maybe their colleague name. So that when you're writing emails, you can kind of drop in these nice personalization points where they think, oh, this person has put a bit of time into this email. So simple sequence. We are just doing cold email in this video. So I would recommend 4 touches. Reason being, after 3, I've noticed that there's actually quite a high percentage of that on the 4th, the breakup email, when you say, this is my last email to you, a lot of the time that gets people to reply. So go for 4. The human copy that breaks the mold. So this is what you are actually saying in that email, and you want to break the mold. You want to get through this person's inbox. It's like a battlefield. There are so many emails and inboxes nowadays. You want to make sure that people are looking at your subject line, clicking on it, reading your email and replying to it. So to do that, you don't want to just have a generic template. I'd recommend, again, sitting down with your offer, your ICP, your ideal outcome of your solution that you're offering, and turning that into maybe a humorous sequence, something that makes them laugh, that's a bit different, making it very human, using info instead of information, making sure it doesn't look like AI wrote it, because people just will not read it and they'll probably just put it straight into the bin. Also, test new angles. So let's say that you've got a lead list of 1,000. I would recommend breaking that into 3. So 330 or 333 leads will get 3 separate different types of copy. So I would go for maybe a pretty standard email template. I would go for something a bit risky, something a bit funny, something a bit cheeky, and then I'd go for a hyper-personalized angle. So you can test and see what is working with your specific ICP. Also, make sure there's a clear CTA every time. CTA is a call to action. Make sure after they've read your email, there is something saying, if you would like me to show you how, reply with A and I'll send a meeting link, or connect with me on LinkedIn, or whatever. Something really simple that is very clear that after they read your email, they take an action. Okay, now we're moving on. So double down. What you want to do after you've launched, we're looking at sort of 20 to 30 days after you've launched. What is your best segment? What is the best performing email? What is the best performing subject line? What is that best angle? Then you take that best one, put it into the next category. So you're definitely going to use this one and test another 2 angles, and do that again and test another 2 angles. And then the best performing, test another 2. You want to constantly be testing, iterating, and getting the best out there. Something that worked last month might not work next month. It's a very fast moving industry. So key tips: commit to 1 ICP and 1 offer at the start. Protect your deliverability. This should be your number 1 concern. Warm up, verify, monitor bounces. If your inboxes, your domains get flagged, you're done. Even if you have the most incredible email copy, they're not going to read it because it's in their spam. Start low volume and slowly ramp up gradually. This is what email warm-up does for you in tools like Smartlead. They do it for you, but I would still recommend, after the warm-up is completed, starting low and gradually getting better. Do a weekly review, look at your list, the offer, the copy, and the infrastructure. Maybe pretend you are doing this for a client. You want to make sure that you are reporting to yourself what's working, what's not. If I need to replace a domain that's not working anymore, or an inbox that's not working, or this copy was great, do a weekly review, save it, put it in Notion, put it in a Google Sheet, just for reference. Then you can go back and continue to iterate. You know what you've already done. You want to make sure that you have complete transparency from lead to reply to meeting to customer. This means probably you're going to need to have a CRM set up. If you don't, that's okay. HubSpot does a brilliant free version. You can use them. Alternatively, you could just do a Google Sheets tracking or something really simple, or a CRM that you already use. You might already have one on the go, but just ensure that you've got a system so you can see where that lead has come from and their journey all the way. Even if they're not interested, you need to be learning from them as well. Respond to positive replies fast. It's crazy how many people will get a positive reply, celebrate that positive reply, and then not do anything. And they think that's it, that's the game. They've got that metric in. It's not about that. The positive reply gives you an opportunity to close with somebody that's interested in buying your product or your service. So respond to them quickly, get on a meeting, send across your documents, whatever you need to do to try and close them. You want to try and do it quickly. You don't want to lose the momentum you've built up from your emails. A final key tip is treat these early calls as research, not just sales. So ask them questions. Obviously, it's going to be a sales call, so your aim at the end of it is to close. But the chances are your first one's not going to close. Use that in as a benefit. Use that as a positive. Go into it confident because they're probably not going to buy. It's the first one you've ever done. So what you should do is ask them questions. Treat it as research. Be confident in yourself because the worst case scenario is that they will say no, which you're expecting anyway. Make the most of that. Key mistakes. People switching up ICPs and their offer every week because it's not working. Stick with something. Stick with something for at least 45 days before you switch it. Stick with something until you've sent it out to 1,000 people. And then if it's still not working, switch it up. Another one is people are buying 10,000 cheap leads instead of 500 good ones. Like I said before, quality is better than volume every time. Jumping from 0 to 500 emails in a day on brand new inboxes, that is asking for your account to be shut down. It's just not going to work. Ignoring bounce, spam, and open rates. Like I said, we don't track open rates, but my point here is people ignore them. They think, oh, whatever, that's going to be fine. It won't. It'll get shut down, and then you'll have to wait for another 30 days for your next inbox to warm up. No CRM or calendar discipline. Leads leak. Yeah, you get your positive reply in and you get a meeting booked, but you haven't stored it in your CRM, you haven't put it in your calendar, you don't know when it is, you lose that lead, or it looks unprofessional and they don't want to work with you anymore. It's a really simple thing to get right, but a really important thing as well. Overcomplicating tools you don't understand or need. There's so many tools at the moment, so many, it's overwhelming. Even someone that's in the space, I find out about a new tool every day, and it's really hard not to just try it out every time. And I do try them out, but I try and do it in a systematical way rather than just going out and trying it, because you don't need all of these complex tools. You don't need them. Finally, calling cold email dead after a couple bad weeks. You'll see on LinkedIn, there's a few people that are pro cold email and other people that hate it, say it's dead, say it doesn't work anymore. They're wrong. You just need to find your message market fit. You need to find your correct ICP. You need to keep testing. It's the same as anything. Cold calling. If you'd had 3 weeks of bad results from cold calling, people don't give up. They get another 100 dials under their belt. LinkedIn messaging, it's the same thing. They're all tough. You've just got to find your way of getting through. It's not easy, but it is very simple to do. And finally, the tools that I use and why. So Scaledmail, dedicated sending in inboxes, protecting your main domain. They set everything up for you. They are amazing. I can't recommend them enough. Apollo, reliable B2B data, fast list building. Clay, they do all you can do your enrichment, find your triggers, add your personalization lines, and craft your email copy in there. Smartlead is what I use for my email sequencing. You can track deliverability really well. You can look at multi-inbox sending. You have complete overview over your entire campaign. HubSpot, the best CRM out there at the moment, I believe. It's most up to date. It's working with all the latest AI tools. It's the most user friendly. It's very intuitive. And finally, Slack. You probably use it internally. If you don't, when you have a few more people in your team or you work with a few clients, I'd recommend Slack. The way that you can integrate different APIs is better than any other communications platform out there. And it means that when you get a positive reply or a meeting booked from your Smartlead, you can send that straight to your Slack to notify you. So that's it. That's the end of the video. I hope it's been helpful. I hope you've learned a lot. This is a brand new channel, so I'm going to be releasing different tutorials, different walkthroughs, different step-by-steps, as well as what I do on a daily basis, just to see if it can help anybody out there starting with GTM engineering or cold email outbound. And let me know if there's anything specific you'd like to learn about that I can dive into. Thanks.